Of our Caregiver Community Connection series. We're going to hang out for just a minute or two and give everybody a chance to join us. So thank you for being with us today on this Thursday afternoon.
And we should have Shannon live, so we should be good.
Hello.
All right, I see folks in our chat box, and our panelists today are logging in. So we're going to give this just another moment or two to let everybody that registered get logged in and get comfy for our second episode of Caregiver Community Connection. We couldn't be happier than to have Tricia here with us today. We're going to talk about breathing strategies and stress. And so thank you for your patience while we give everybody a chance to get logged in. And we still have folks logging in, so we're going to give it just another moment. All right, well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for Caregiver Community Connection, the C3 show from the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, powered by Wounded Warrior Project and the VA. And we're so excited today to bring you episode 2, Taking a Breath. We're going to learn some breathing strategies to cope with stress today. And we have a very special guest, Tricia Winklosky from Hope for the Warriors. And Tricia has brought a guest of her own today, Shannon Anthony. And on the back end, we have Molly Ramsey from the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, who'll be our moderator today, and we'll be sharing all of your questions from the chat. And if you have anything that you'd like to ask us or any comments, please feel free to leave those in the chat section from today's webinar. So welcome, everyone. Now, just a little background on C3, the Elizabeth Dole Foundation's new online offering for caregivers and veterans and their families. While we're all sheltering in place, looking for ways to connect and ways to de-stress, if you were, and that's what today's episode is all about. So I'd like to formally introduce our guests, but before I do that, please know that today's episode will be recorded so that we can share it with others who weren't able to join us live as a replay. So we just want to let you know that your chat comments will not be recorded as part of the video today. So feel free to ask questions. So welcome to Tricia. And Tricia, would you mind just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about Hope for the Warriors?
Thank you, Jennifer. Absolutely. I am so honored to be here with you all today. Thank you to Senator Dole, the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, Wounded Warrior Project for creating the C3 series. This is phenomenal. And it was a pleasure to be a viewer in Tuesday's webinar. I really enjoyed zooming into Steve's mom's kitchen and cooking with his nephew and family, and seeing Mike Linnington and his beautiful bride cook together on Tuesday. What a wonderful way to kick off this series. So to tell you a bit about Hope for the Warriors, Hope for the Warriors is a national nonprofit with a grassroots history. Hope was founded by military families aboard Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, North Carolina in 2006, as they witnessed firsthand the effects of the war on service members and their families. Hope for the Warriors has remained grounded in family values as our organization expanded and grew and offered more and more programs over the years. Hope's programs and services focus on the well-being of service members, veterans, and their families in 3 overarching areas of support. Sports and recreation programs support staying active, improving one's physical and mental wellness. We have transition services that help provide direction in career and educational pursuits after service, but also focusing on that active duty to veteran transition and beyond. And then clinical health and wellness, where I and my team work. We assist in case management, resource brokering, financial, as well as psychological and emotional wellness. So my journey with Hope started when I met these amazing families through volunteer work at Camp Lejeune in 2004. Years later, I joined Hope to work with military families through Hope's Family Reintegration Program out of Queens, New York. Currently, I serve as the Senior Director of Clinical Health and Wellness Programs and Services, and I'm honored to lead an amazing team of regional social workers who provide a variety of support services for our post 9/11 service members, veterans, caregivers, and families of the fallen. Myself, I'm a Marine veteran spouse. My husband served 21 years, amazing years, with 4 deployments. We retired in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with our 3 children. Now, my caregiver journey started as a child. I was 5 when my father, who's a World War II Army veteran, suffered a severe traumatic brain injury from a fall at work. My mom and my 14 siblings, Steve, I got you beat. We cared for our dad day in and day out for 25 years. And now my sister and I care for our 93-year young mother. And no question, our mama is an amazing strength in our lives. At 93, though, she has congestive heart failure. So as you can imagine, and I think you all know all too well that over these last 7 weeks or going on 8, this virus makes us all very nervous. It has changed most everything that we do in caring for her. My personal and professional journey has landed me right here with Hope. I'm so pleased to be able to support military families, caregivers, and veterans on their path to recovery and rehabilitation.
Wow. So first, thank you for sharing us your personal story of caregiving. I think for all of us who are caregivers, just knowing that there are others out there who've experienced what we've been through, it doesn't have to be caring for someone that was a veteran and wounded in war. It could be someone who was wounded in an accident, like your father. I think that makes us all feel some comfort. There's safety in numbers, if you will. And so sharing that you grew up in a caregiving household is so vitally important, and obviously is some fuel to power what you do for Hope for the Warriors.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jen.
Well, would you mind introducing Shannon to us, so we know who she is and get a little background on Shannon Anthony?
Absolutely. Shannon Anthony has joined our Hope for the Warriors family last year and connected with our Caregiver Hub. She has participated in several of our programs, and most importantly, she participated in our Resilient Family program, where we teach breathing exercises and breathing techniques. So I thought it would be really good to hear her story and how that's connected with the work that we do.
Well, I wanted to ask Shannon if she would mind just sharing a little of her story with us, her story of resiliency, if you will, and just tell us about what your caregiving experience is like.
Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. I really appreciate it, and I'm truly honored to be here. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shannon Anthony. I currently live in Newport, North Carolina, kind of dead center between Cherry Point and Camp Lejeune right now. I am the full-time caregiver to my husband, who is a disabled Marine vet, and I'm a mother to our combined family with 4 children. As Tricia had mentioned, I got hooked up with Hope for the Warriors last year. I truly enjoy being a part of the caregiver group because there's tons of resources, activities, and loads of helpful information posted daily. The thing that I love most about the group is the other caregivers who completely understand the trials and the victories of being a caregiver and are always quick to offer support, an ear, or even a great job whenever it's needed. It's really an amazing group of people, and I'm truly blessed to be a part of it. The Resilient Family Program, I am so honored. I enjoyed it immensely. Some of the things that I learned from taking the class are better breathing techniques, mindfulness, journaling, and keeping things in perspective. The different breathing exercises I've learned through the class have been a huge help when I get feeling overwhelmed and stressed. A very important thing I also learned is that I'm not alone in this. There's many of us, and we can all help each other because we understand what each of us is going through in some way. One of the most important things I also took away from participating was the fact that as caregivers, we really need to put ourselves as a priority and make sure that we are okay mentally, physically, and emotionally. As the cliche says, you can't pour from an empty glass. And it's very, very true for us, because if we're not at our 100%, we will never be able to give our veterans that 100%.
No, Shannon, that's such a good point. I want to ask you a quick question here. How did you know when it was time for you to connect with Hope for the Warriors, to connect with other caregivers, and to get some help for your caregiver stress?
Well, I actually originally got started through, I saw a post on my Facebook for it. We have 4 children, like I said, between us, and my husband became wheelchair bound for the second time last September. And it was very difficult. I had to leave my job. So trying to provide for the holidays was hard, and that's how I got turned to it. And when they first emailed me and they said, we have these resources and these classes, and I went, oh, yes, please, I need all the help I can get. And the ladies that I have been introduced to are absolutely amazing. And I'm getting calls weekly, every few days, texts, are you okay? How's things going? You know, and it's an amazing group of people. And that's truly how I've been connected through it. And I'm blessed.
So
you've
really created your own network of support, and I imagine that all of the caregivers that help you, support you on a daily basis, they don't all live in North Carolina, do they?
Not all of them, no. A couple are very close. Brittany is actually quite close to me. She's in Jacksonville, but a lot of the other women that I've met through the class, they're from all over the country. And it's a beautiful thing to connect with other people, because we are the only ones that truly understand what each other is going through and know how to support.
That's so true. I think the shared experience is really what brings us all together. And your up day might be my down day, and such a great way for us to give each other some balance. Well, I want to thank you for joining us. Now, tell us, what's it been like for you during quarantine? Have you experienced hurdles? What's life like for you?
Actually, to be quite honest, it's probably been a little more interesting than most. Last year we found, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
They found a cavernoma inside my husband's spinal cord at the C2 level. The only VA hospital that we could find that would perform surgery was Richmond, Virginia, which is about 4.5 hours away. We went up, he had surgery on March 4th. We were expecting him to come out a complete quad on a respirator for the rest of his life. We were blessed. He came out. He is diagnosed as an incomplete quadriplegic and also has paresthesis, so he can walk some. So he was supposed to be up there enrichment at the spinal cord injury unit till April 27th. They sent him home on the 3rd. So he's fresh from a major spinal cord surgery and trying to keep all of us safe per se. And it's been hard because trying to get all the therapies set up. And I'll tell you, as a caregiver, we have to push to make sure that they get what they need, because they can't always advocate for themselves. And it's been hard, but we actually got blessed. We just got a call today that the rest of his wheelchair is together. So we're getting that on the way. So it's been hard, but I
appreciate
amazing ladies.
Well, I appreciate your perspective so much. Caregiving hasn't stopped just because we're sheltering in place. And for so many caregivers, we've hit even more challenges and hurdles than ever before. And I know that was painful for you to share, but I appreciate it, because I think it's important for people to know just how difficult it is to take care of our loved ones, to advocate for them, and to make sure that they get everything that they need, even during these uncertain times. So just on behalf of everybody, thank you so much for sharing your powerful story.
Thank you. And just want to say thank you to the ladies, because the group that I deal with has given me enough support. I'm actually going to school to be a social worker, to work with veterans and their families to help them get what they need.
Wow, that's just absolutely outstanding. You're exactly the person that Caregiver Community Connection was created for. Your circumstances are difficult and unfortunately not unique. We know there are 5.5 million veteran caregivers across the country, and you're doing heavy lifting. So thank you for sharing that with our audience today. And I can only imagine how much you need the stress techniques that Tricia's going to teach us today. I know I do too. And that's exactly why Hope for the Warriors, why the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, Wounded Warrior Project, that's exactly why we're all here, is to support people just like you. I want to bring Tricia back in now and get ready for the second portion of our show today, which is that ever important breathing technique workshop that Tricia's going to be sharing with us. So thank you again, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Hey, Tricia, that was powerful. What a powerful testimony. I myself have engaged with Hope for the Warriors. My brother was wounded in 2005, and actually similar to Shannon's husband, he's had a number of surgeries, had his 20th surgery in early March. And we found ourselves having a lot of challenges that we didn't expect because of COVID-19. And I think that people in our communities maybe are not aware of the difficult journey that caregiving is, but they're even more difficult experience that we're having right now because of closings and telehealth and the difficulty in getting supplies that we need. And so I'm really glad that Shannon shared that story, so our audience can really, truly understand what it's like. And my experience with Hope for the Warriors came in 2014. I had met some caregivers who participated in Hope for the Warriors activities, and I had expressed interest in running and getting fit. My own son had just left for the Marine Corps, and my duties as a caregiver for my brother were continuing, but I wanted to do something to engage in the community. So I decided to join a group of caregivers and veterans with Hope for the Warriors who were going to run the Marine Corps Marathon. I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking. What I did, I'm sure didn't know what I got myself into. But by the time I got to Washington, D.C. in October, I had trained online, been supported by Hope for the Warrior staff. And you know what? It didn't turn out that bad. It rained and it was cold, but there was Hope for the Warriors at the end of their tent, and really gave me a warm embrace that I needed in a crazy time in my life. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for what you do. And now let's turn it over to Tricia to teach us our breathing techniques.
All right. Did you want me to go over any of the programs that we're offering right now, or maybe at the end?
I think at the end we'll talk about other ways that folks can engage.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Jen, and thanks for sharing your story of hope. We love that Marine Corps marathon. It always seems to be raining and cold or snowing, and sometimes on those the Marine Corps runs. But okay, so I'm sharing my screen here. I hope everybody can see what we got going here. I'm going to pop in. So I'm going to take some time to talk a little bit more about some of the science behind mind-body work, okay? Let me see if I can get my thing to keep moving here. Okay. Taking a breath, breathing strategies for coping with stress. And here I have this quote that many of you have probably heard, or a military member of yours or a veteran has said, "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast." It's an adage used in training and attributed to Navy SEALs, but practicing slowly so that the correct motor patterns are ingrained, and perhaps equally important, execute slowly for a faster and more accurate result. So when we're looking at coping or combating stress, slow is smooth, smooth is fast is key. And we're going to talk about why that is. In our Resilient Warrior and Resilient Family courses, like Shannon took, we train to reduce stress and strive to increase calm in our daily lives, not just on self-care days or vacations. We're looking at every day. We train to relax, we train to focus, we train to muscle memory. The courses are designed to help a service member, veteran, or family member cope with stressful events. It's the training that teaches one to control his or her mind and body's response to stress. Mind-body medicine, it's the foundation behind the Resilient Warrior, Resilient Family course. It's the study of how the mind and body interact, and it is one of the most effective ways to treat and prevent stress. Stress, it's the body's response to any demand, positive or negative. Stress is generated often by perception of a threat to one's physical self or emotional well-being. Stress is also based in our belief system, a belief that we are not capable of coping with that said threat. Our beliefs, our thoughts, and emotions can have a big effect on our health, and vice versa. So the perception that we cannot cope comes from our thoughts, comes from our feelings about a situation, the behaviors that we reinforce that perception or belief, and our memories that confirm our perception about a situation. So any perception or any threat, or either physical or emotional, real or imagined, initiates this brain's stress response, and that triggers the body's autonomic nervous system, if you've heard of that, and the sympathetic nervous system. And this system then sets out that cascade of changes throughout the body. So the body's response to stress, we've seen this, we know this, is that fight, flight, or freeze response. It's a series of biochemical changes that prepare us to deal with real or perceived threats. And you know it well, I know you all do. We know it well. When stressed, our bodies redirect resources by shutting down digestion, redirecting blood flow to those major muscle groups so that when a threat comes, we can run or we can fight. Some of our body's responses include rapid, shallow breathing, racing heart, or feeling like your heart's gonna pop right out of your chest, sweaty palms, or that eye twitch has come back, dry mouth, shakiness. Again, these physiological changes can occur in response to that real or imagined threat. And danger problems really occur when this message doesn't get turned off and we're in this chronic fight or flight mode. So again, how did these physiological changes get started, or what's the root cause here? The brain's response to stress really is the root cause. So any perception of threat, either physical or emotional, real or imagined, initiates the brain's stress response, which then sets off that cascade of changes. So if we perceive something as a threat, the amygdala here, sometimes called the emotional brain, is activated. The amygdala quickly and automatically initiates that chain of changes throughout the body. But conversely, if we perceive a situation as non-threatening, the top of that brain, of our brain, that prefrontal cortex, is activated. This part of the brain is in charge of rational thinking and can prevent that chain reaction in our body from happening. Research shows that the brain develops predictable, programmed responses to stress based on memory of past stressors. For individuals who have experienced continued stress events, say for example, post-trauma stress, the brain can find it difficult to separate dangers or threatening situations from those that are non-threatening. So again, here we are, the problem can occur if that message is not turned off and the brain tells the body to stay in that chronic fight or flight mode. So the goal then is to retrain. We're going to retrain our mind and our bodies. We're going to engage the top-down brain function, that prefrontal cortex. How do we do that? So let's start with an exercise, an awareness exercise to demonstrate the body's immediate communication network with the brain and how this network can be utilized to buffer the stress response. So the first thing we're going to do, okay, you guys ready? We're going to do an awareness exercise. I'm going to ask you to put up your hand and make a fist. Ball that up nice and tight, okay? Hold it as tight as you can. Bring it up another notch. Feel those nails or your fingers pulling into your palm. Even tighter, tighter.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
Keep it going. What are you doing with your breath? You're liking holding your breath, right? Okay. All right, so now let's release and take a deep breath. Okay. The body's communication system works very quickly. And so by simply increasing that muscle tension in your fist, the brain sends signals to many muscles to tighten, including that big sheet of muscle under your lungs called the diaphragm. So now we're going to make a fist again. But this time, as you're making that fist and clenching it and holding it, what I want you to do is continue to take slow, relaxed breaths. As you're holding that fist, clenching that fist, take some nice, deep breaths. Keep going, clench, breathe. What do you notice now? It's much more challenging now to hold that tension in the fist. Do you sort of feel that tug of war? Okay, so by simply taking full deep breaths, that stretches the muscle fibers and prevents those muscles from tightening, and it slows the activation of the stress response. So this communication network is really called our autonomic nervous system. We know that the sympathetic nervous system, that stress response, can be activated by that threat or perceived threat. And then the opposite then, the parasympathetic, that relaxation response, can be activated by the breath. So herein lies that key. The key is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So engaging in breathing techniques and slowing the body's chain reaction, engaging that top-down brain function and activating that parasympathetic nervous system or the relaxation response, that's what's going to get us there to help combat our stress. Here I have on the screen, the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over the other. And by doing that, we can engage that relaxation response through our breath work to help us to get there. So let's practice some deep breathing together. We can experience this as a practice today. I have several different breathing techniques that we're going to go through. All right. First, as best as you can in our current COVID living situation, I'm going to ask you to remove or set up your situation here and try and remove any distractions. that may get in the way of our practice. But we understand if you're not able to remove all, it's the reality of our current situation, and that is absolutely okay. So we're glad that you're here. We're asking you to sort of set your phone aside or prop up your screen here and try and turn off anything else that's around you. What we're going to do is we're going to find a comfortable position, seated or reclining or on the floor or on your chair, okay? We're going to uncross arms or legs to avoid pressure points or becoming uncomfortable while doing the exercise. I want you to just remain here, just about 30 seconds or so, just remain and allow your body just to adjust and settle, okay? So as you're doing so, many people find that closing their eyes during relaxation or breathing techniques is very helpful to the process. But I know there's many people that are not comfortable with doing that. So if you're not comfortable with closing your eyes in this practice session, find an object in front of you to fix your gaze upon. So it could be, if you have your laptop on, maybe pick your favorite number key and focus on that, okay? And so you're gonna keep your gaze there to keep your focus and keep your gaze from wandering, okay? Keep focus there, or if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. So we're going to start with a simple diaphragmatic or deep breathing exercise, and it coaches us through how to really get a good deep breath. All right. All right, so begin noticing your breathing. Simple as that. Just begin noticing your breathing. Notice any sensations associated with your breathing, such as the gentle rising and falling of your chest, or feeling your lungs are expanding and contracting. Allow that sensation to be the focus of your attention. It may help in this exercise for you to place your hands one over your chest and one over your abdomen to help to increase awareness of your breathing. Just continue your regular breathing right now. And let that be the focus of your attention. Next, begin to relax your stomach and diaphragm as you breathe in. You want to relax that stomach and diaphragm so that the lower part of your lungs fills with air like a balloon. So when you're breathing, you will notice your hand over your abdomen now is going to rise more than the hand on your chest, filling the air in your lungs like a balloon. Concentrate on making this happen. You may notice how the air you breathe in tends to feel cool, and the air you breathe out feels warm. Concentrate on making your abdomen rise more than your chest. Notice the sensation of the cool air coming in and the warm air going out. As you continue your relaxation breathing, imagine that as you inhale the cool air into your lungs, that you are becoming lighter and lighter. And as you gently exhale that warm air out, you're becoming heavier and heavier, sinking down into your chair. Cool air in, you're becoming lighter and lighter. Exhale warm air out, becoming heavier and heavier, sinking down. Now I want you to begin exhaling twice as long as you inhale. So we're going to inhale and then exhale twice as long, extending that breath, slowing your breath down further and further. Increase that feeling of letting it go, letting it out. Inhale, exhale twice as long, pushing it out, slowing it down, and increase a feeling of letting go. Continue this breathing. Cool air in, becoming lighter. Exhale twice as long, warm air out, heavier and heavier, sinking down into your chair. Enjoy the feeling of letting go. As you connect with that feeling of letting go, find now a verbal or a visual cue to associate with this feeling. A verbal cue might be something like peaceful, calm, relaxed. A visual cue might be a color, a favorite color, or often people pick blue. Or even a favorite number. Focusing on this verbal or visual cue and associate it with that feeling of letting go. With each slow breath out, continue to let go and enjoy any feelings of lightness or heaviness you may experience. If any thoughts intrude, simply acknowledge them and allow yourself to let them go and bring your mind back to your simple cue for relaxation. Do this even after if you have to do it again and again. If thoughts intrude, acknowledge them and let them go. Bring back to your simple cue for relaxation. We're going to complete this exercise by slowly moving your fingers and toes, gradually moving your hands and arms. And if you kept your eyes closed, you can slowly open them and take a moment to reflect on how you feel after this breathing exercise. Okay. So that is diaphragmatic or deep breathing. We really engaged and really wanted to open up that diaphragm, stretch that out. We know how important that muscle is to really opening up and engaging our relaxation response. Okay, I'm tracking on time. I have one more that we could do that takes about 5 minutes. Jen, would that be okay? Or how much?
That sounds great. And I want to give you some feedback from our chat room. We
Yes.
have a lot of participants who really are feeling restful. They're channeling a time when they have felt relaxed in their life. We had a couple of folks even mention that they might fall asleep. That's not a bad thing.
It's not at all. It's not at all. I do want, particularly for our veteran group and for our veteran caregivers, oftentimes, first practicing meditation and breathing, it can be a little counterintuitive. Sometimes it might increase your anxiety initially. It doesn't feel right to be quiet sometimes. We're a little nervous about inviting the quiet. We want to be busy. We want to sort of keep those things away from our minds. And so you'll have a little bit of that initial nervousness, but allowing it and pushing those thoughts out, as that breathing exercise mentioned, is to allow them to pass and then refocus back.
Well, I think our guests would like to do another exercise, and we do have time.
Great. Okay. So we're going to do a body scan that combines breath work and really being attentive to our body. Is that what we're talking about today? Is that mind-body exchange? Okay. So again, in this exercise, we're going to uncross our arms and legs and let them be supported by the ground or the chair or the floor. Okay. And again, in this exercise, you may close your eyes if you wish, and if you're not comfortable with that, you can find that fixed point again where you focus, okay? So notice your breath now coming in and out of your body. And just bring it back to an awareness. Feel it enter through your nose or mouth, move past your airways, and fill your lungs. Then feel it moving out of your body. Just take a few moments again to refocus your breath, flowing in and out. And take a moment to realize that you are being breathed by your body. And there's no need to control it right now. We're going to quiet our body, we're going to quiet our mind, and allow ourselves to enjoy a brief time of doing absolutely nothing. Allow your breath to find its own rate, its own rhythm. Begin to notice that with every easy exhalation, you become more and more comfortable here and now. Imagine that all of your tension and your stress is being released with each out breath. And with every in-breath, you are taking in peace and relaxation. Count down now from 10 to 1, saying each number silently to yourself with the out breath. 9. Allow all physical tension, feelings, and thoughts to be released with that out breath as you're counting. And imagine the out breath dissolving any and all obstacles to deep relaxation. Now, in order to recognize tension in the body and to let it go, it is easiest to focus on one part of the body at a time. So first, we're going to bring our awareness to your right great toe. I know you're smiling a little bit. Think of your toe as being made up of atoms with spaces between those atoms so that the toes feel open and spacious. Now bring your awareness from that great toe to the second, third, fourth, and fifth toes to the ball of your foot, that arch the top of the foot, and allow that whole foot to just relax into the support of the floor. It's feeling very spacious and light. Bring your awareness to the left great toe. Give it a smile and think of it as being made of atoms again, so the toe feels open and spacious. Focus your awareness on your second toe, third, fourth, and fifth toes, the ball of your foot up to the arch and the top of the foot, allowing the whole foot to relax into the support of the floor. Feeling now very spacious and light. Next, we're going to bring our awareness to our right ankle, our right calf, our right knee, that space behind the knee, the thigh, the back of the thigh, and the right hip. Now we're going to focus on the left ankle, the left knee, the space behind the knee, the thigh, the back of that left thigh, and the left hip. Feeling spacious, feeling light, sinking down into your chair. Now bring your awareness to your buttocks, lower back, middle back, that upper back, noticing each vertebrae. Put your focus on each and every one at a time, vertebrae by vertebrae. Imagine the space between the vertebrae is open and spacious, relaxing all the muscles of your back. Being attentive to any pain you may have, noticing it and then moving on as you can. Bring awareness now to your lower abdomen, your mid-abdomen, and your chest. Focus on the space inside your lungs as you inhale and exhale, and relieving any restrictions that you may have there. Bring your awareness to your right thumb, second, third, fourth, and fifth fingers, the palm of your hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, and shoulder. Feel your whole right arm as spacious and light, allowing it to rest easily beside you. Bring your awareness to your left thumb, second, third, fourth, and fifth fingers, the palm of your left hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper left arm, and left shoulder. Feel your whole left arm as very spacious and light now. Now we're going to go towards and bring our awareness to our neck and our jaw. Allow your jaw to relax, relaxing your mouth into a gentle smile or an inner smile, or allow that jaw just to drop down. And imagine the inside of your throat is very spacious and open, allowing the breath. Become aware of your cheeks and feel the spaciousness in your cheekbones. Becoming aware now of your eyes and allowing your eyes to rest easily in their sockets. Aware of the space now between your eyes, your forehead, softening all those muscles. The top of your head, the back of your head, and your scalp. You can imagine your whole body is made up of atoms now, and your whole body is spacious and light. Thoughts may pass by. Allow them to pass like clouds in a clear blue sky. Let them pass. If your mind wanders, let your out-breath draw your mind back to your inner stillness and this spacious, open, and feeling light. In 5 breaths, we're going to count down. You will begin to draw your awareness back into the room. Before you do, take a moment to notice your experience of yourself when your mind is quiet and your body is relaxed. Some people say they experience peacefulness, and some people repeat a mantra: I am steady, I am full, I am rested, or I am enough. Know and notice what your experience is today. So counting back 5, with every in-breath out, 4, 3, noticing the sounds in the room around you now. 2, begin to move those fingers, toes. Begin to notice your body in the chair. And on 1, open your eyes, feeling fully awake and hopefully refreshed.
Definitely refreshed, Tricia. Thank you so much. We have gotten so many positive reactions and comments in our chat section. And I'm going to ask Molly to step in really quickly before we close out. We have a couple of comments and questions that Molly would like to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Tricia. That was amazing. And thank you, Shannon, for sharing your story. It was extremely powerful. So one question we have is, I've agreed as of last week to assume care of a Vietnam veteran and his wife. Are these breathing exercises something that we can use both as to maintain or to manage stress as a caregiver and to also use for that veteran and his wife?
Absolutely. These breathing exercises are for both the caregiver and the veteran. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Oh.
No, that's fine.
How can breathing help with stress from a personal confrontation issue, which causes a flood of adrenaline, particularly when away from home?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. So there's 2 parts to that. The first is training and retraining. What we talked about is training our mind so that we're not as quick to react or respond to that flooding of emotion when a conflict comes around. But that does take time. So you got to start now and put those practices into place. The other thing, the 2 part of that, is that we teach what's called mini RRs, or mini relaxation responses. They're a quick 2-minute intervention that you can do in the moment. So if you can, in that moment, step back, you can engage in a very quick, quiet mini relaxation. And those are typically a counting type of thing, a 4, 7, 8, if anybody's heard of that, where you breathe in for 4, you breathe out for 7, 8 seconds. And it just gives you that little bit of time that you could come back and respond if you want to, or just step yourself away from the situation before you react.
Great advice. When you talk about focusing on something, should I do it every time I do my breathing?
Well, as you get into it, yes, the part of relaxation response and engaging the relaxation response is repeated mental focus, and that's the retraining. So we do want you to focus on a spot, but if you're comfortable with closing your eyes, then you're really focusing inward. You're really more attentive to what's happening mentally in your thoughts as well as in your body. So we do ask you to find that focus point each and every time, or close your eyes and focus inward.
Great. And is it helpful to practice with a spirometer? And I'm not sure if I am saying that correctly, but is it helpful to practice with a spirometer regularly?
I am not familiar with a spirometer. It makes me think it's like my piano teacher would put on to keep me in rhythm.
I think it might be, actually. That's a very intriguing question.
You don't have to. And it really is, I would say, a preference for you. But there is research, and you can find this and Google it, but there's research about tonal and rhythm. and really having that undertone to help you to maintain. So yes, I think there can be, but I would be careful that it doesn't inhibit you in finding your personal way of achieving that relaxation response. So if it works, yes. If it doesn't, no.
I know when I hear one of those things, I always starting to kind of start falling asleep every time.
Yeah.
And then one other question is there an organization that can best instruct other breathing practices? Is there kind of other tools that people can learn more about? We've had a great response to this and people really hungry for more.
Absolutely. Well, between Home Base and Hope for the Warriors, we teach our Resilient Warrior, Resilient Family course. And this is the crux of our course, is teaching mind-body practices in the relaxation response. So every session that we provide, we do practices like these in each session. So Home Base is awesome. There are also several organizations out there, veteran organizations, and oftentimes associated with yoga. But Headstrong is out there. They're fantastic, and being able to do that. We utilize and share a lot of apps with each other in our peer groups with our Resilient Warrior and Resilient Family. So we come together in small groups of 10 in our classes, and then we share resources. What's out there? What are you utilizing in your practice of your relaxation response? So we use a lot of applications, different kinds of things that help us there. And there's more formal training that I can send to Jen and to you, and you can share out with the group.
Thanks so much, Tricia. I just want to thank everyone in the chat room who has helped us understand what a spirometer is. And I have one. It's a little breathing gadget that my brother actually has that to help strengthen his lung capacity. And you breathe through a little tube and move a ball. Now everybody's probably picturing it in their mind. We are going to recommend that you connect with your respiratory therapist or your primary care provider and ask them if they have suggestions for breathing techniques that you can use with that support mechanism. So thank you everybody for pointing that out. We want to be mindful of our time. So I'm going to say thank you to Molly for being our moderator today and answering so many questions in the chat and sharing them with Tricia. Thank you so much again to Shannon for sharing your powerful story. You know, we strengthen our connections with one another as humans by sharing our stories. And I know that you've touched many today by sharing yours. I also want to thank Tricia and Hope for the Warriors for teaching us ways that we can calm our minds, calm our nerves a bit during this uncertain time with these simple techniques that we can do right here in our home. And to that end, I want to remind everyone that we will be sharing a replay link with you, with everyone who registered today, so that you can watch this video again if you'd like to follow Tricia's breathing techniques, along with links to our website where you can find information about future episodes. And lastly, I want to thank our sponsor, Wounded Warrior Project, who's powering all of the C3 series, along with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and thank our special guests today, Tricia and Shannon, once more for joining us. So we hope that you'll join us next Tuesday, May 12th. We have a very special show with author, speaker, and caregiver herself, Lee Woodruff. So we hope we'll see you on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Lee's going to teach us how writing and sharing our story can be beneficial. So I guess we will sign off for now, and until next time, bye-bye everyone.